Welcome to the ITSP Magazine Podcast Network. You're listening to a new episode of Off the Record, a student abroad podcast, where your host, Saman Fatima, will cover the lengths of what it means to be a student and faculty. Saman and her guests will explore how, why, and what students, especially international students, face when they move abroad to complete their undergrad, master's, or PhD. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Hi everyone, we are back with another episode on Off the Record with me, Saman, and another college, another guest. And she's a special friend from a conference that we met, I guess, last year. Yes, last year in Denver. And that's how we know each other through the cybersecurity community. And I would really love for her to come on ITSP Magazine podcast and talk about her experience with Stevens Institute of Technology, which is a very famous one when you talk about institutions back in New Jersey. So we welcome you, Shivani. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. And we'd love to know a bit of your side, a bit of your introduction. Where did you come from, like your original country, and then your prior experience back in your country? And when did you came here? What course you did, and where are you right now?
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for thank you, Saman, for introducing and inviting me for this podcast. I hope this journey of mine helps others, in deciding their journey to coming to US or any other country as well. So coming to myself, this is Shivani Shetty, and I'm from Karnataka, India. So basically, I'm from a place called as Udupi, which is like famous for temples. And yeah, I have done my bachelor's in computer science. Soon after finishing my bachelor's in computer science, I started working as a full stack developer. And when I realized, what am I even doing here? This is not what what I'm meant for. So that is when I decided, oh, this is the time I need to do my master's. And I started researching, and then I went on to do my master's in at Stevens Institute of Technology in cybersecurity. That is because cybersecurity was something that I always loved. And so after my time in Stevens, I started working as a cybersecurity consultant at Nearshore Cyber. And even currently, I'm working as a cybersecurity consultant. It has been a great journey so far.
Thank you so much. And that was like a very great experience back from Karnataka and then coming to New Jersey. We'll talk about a lot about that cultural shock and a lot of other things, which everyone I have talked about and known how things have gone that far. So starting with just the college, like if we just know that, whenever we do apply for international colleges, we always like take a lot of options together, like, okay, option number 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would suppose like you would also have couple of offers in hand. So just throw some light on how Stevens stood out for you. And then obviously we'll talk more about the course selection as well, how it stood out for. But initially, I want to really talk about the college, how it stood out for you.
Yeah. So coming to deciding the college, I had multiple offers from different colleges, and my initial plan was to come in 2020, but things got deferred because of all COVID things, and it took a toll on me as well. And because of that, one of the reasons I had like multiple offers from University of Michigan, Stevens, and Boston University. But then after in that 1 year, during that decision I had to make, should I go for masters or what should I be doing? And that time my health also started deteriorating. And then why I chose Stevens was giving me a really good scholarship, its location. And fun fact is, I had taken a course with a professor named Edward Amarasu. He's very famous professor here, and I wanted to learn under him and try to understand his way of teaching. That is something that I loved. So I was like, it'll be better if I can go and talk to him in person and get to his classes, or else if my health was right during that time, I would have chosen Michigan as well, but since it is a cold place, I wanted to avoid it. And then, I was like, okay, NJ is a safer place than get going to Michigan. And also, me coming from a diverse point of view, I was like, inclined towards being near New York so that, I can explore and open up myself.
New York is any day love. Like, I want to say it out loud there that, if given an option, yes, obviously. Obviously, it's more on the sides where 9 out of 10 cases, NYC is everyone's dream city to go either study or work or, for a vacation. So obviously that stood out for me. And apart from that, yeah, considering the fact, the options that you had, I guess NJ was the best choice considering you're closer to the community, and then there are a lot of students there because there are a lot of colleges there in that, maybe if we talk about NJ or NYC, there are a lot of colleges spread across. So there are a lot of job opportunities and other opportunities, I guess, that comes in handy. So before we head on to the scholarship part that you briefly mentioned about, we wanted to talk about how obviously cybersecurity is a very niche field, and now, like, I myself did it in information systems and specializations in cybersecurity. But what was your viewpoint? Did you had prior experience in cybersecurity, or because it was a niche field you wanted to go into, or maybe the professor was the reason, maybe he was into cybersecurity and that's how the interest was built up?
So my interest, I would say, started back in 2016 when I was doing my bachelor's in computer science. I was introduced to networks, computer networks, and then that is when I started playing with IP addresses. And I was like, one thing, what does IP config? All of this are doing. What is all of this? And to my surprise, I went on to get into some IP addresses of colleges which I should not be having access to. And that is when I realized, okay, this things needs to be safeguarded. And that is my interest towards cybersecurity started. And it went on, it went on going up. Then I started doing try hack me, trying to see what I can do, what I can learn. Um, just that back in India, I did not have an option to start in a security role. Um, so I felt that, everyone who I was talking to was like, oh, you need to be from an IIT or you need to be from some tier 3 colleges, tier 1 colleges, sorry. So, I was like, oh, that is not making any sense. And I was like, okay, and another part of it was I liked web development. So I was like, let's just take up whatever I have right now. And then I started doing full stack at this company called as Capillary Technologies. So there, even though I was doing a full stack job, but I was dealing with clients like Pizza Hut, KFCs. So, I was always towards customers, customer centric thing. So I was like, how can I bring in security angle towards this? So I started working on the application security part of it. So brought in that multi-factor authentications and stuff. And then I was like, oh, this is not what I should be doing here. I need to start doing what I love. So, and I decided, yeah, it's time for me to do my master's, which I had initially planned. And then I came here, did my master's in 2021. I came here in fall 2021 and started my master's.
Nice. Because I was hearing a couple of things. So I myself graduated back in 2017, and that's when cybersecurity was really at a baby level back in India, if I talk about. And not everyone was so much aware about things like you mentioned about things like web development, IP config, and MFA. So a lot of those things were still getting into the systems in a way that people were getting known to all those things, that okay, apart from passwords as well, there are other things. But it came into picture a little later in the 20s when a lot of security attacks, breaches, and stuff happened in a very sophisticated manner. So, cybersecurity geared from there, and then the domain knowledge and a lot of other things. And now we see a lot of diverse background when we talk about cybersecurity, like people like us who have done their masters and now they are, drilling through different domains into the industry. So that's amazing. Like, I also got to know a lot about cyber back from my undergrad only, and that's where I piggybacked it and took it for 5 years in India and then here in US as well. So that's amazing. So let's just talk about the fun section where I really want to talk about that scholarship thing. Something that, every international student really looks forward to. Like, there are certain meritorious boards where you get the scholarship, or there are certain scholarship only parked for international students. Like with my college, it was a set amount parked for international students, and then nothing else, you get it. But how does Stevens work for it? And obviously this, we're talking about 2021, like a disclaimer for everyone, maybe things have changed for 2024 or the coming years, so probably check out the website. But yeah, Shivani, over to you to talk about your tuition and scholarship breakout, so that we could understand how much significantly a person has to pay out of pockets, and what are the different ways one could get the scholarship or the TARA, anything that is provided by the college or the department.
Yeah. So basically at Stevens, with when you apply with them, when you send out an application, you can apply for the scholarship as well. You just have to say, do you want financial aid? And then, you would be selected. But the selection process for scholarship would depend on your GRE score as well as your TOEFL or IELTS or Duolingo scores. So if you're not given, let's say GRE or TOEFL, there are less chances of you getting a scholarship. In my case, I had prepared for it and had given GRE as well as my TOEFL, so I had got like $15,000 as scholarship. So that helped me during my tuitions and stuff. So around, if I consider tuitions, you would pay anything around like 50 to 60 in total, like for your 1.5 year or 2 years of masters. So in that, in my case, I had got some good scholarship, as well as I had applied for external grants as well. So there is something called as in India, we have something called as Rotary Club. So through Rotary Club, you can, if you're part of a Rotary Club and if you are doing something for the community in India or any other country, they help you with getting a scholarship as well in US. So that way, through them, I had got a $5,000 scholarship as well. So technically, like my first semester was like I was studying for free. And then at the same time, you spoke about TA and RE, right? So I've always been like, good at studies. So I knew I had to, if I want to, get that TA or RA, because Stevens is a very small campus and there's a lot of competitions to it. So I was like, if I want to be the best out there, I need to be, showcase my talent to my professors. So within no time, I was lucky enough to get a, TA job wherein I was a teaching assistant. And that way I was able to also manage my expenses here. So yeah, all in all, it was a good experience. And I did not have to like struggle a lot. I had I knew what are the resources that are available and how to apply for them. Stevens also has an employment website wherein you can directly apply for all on-campus jobs. And yeah, that is how things were for me.
I would say like this is really helpful because I sit with a lot of people to discuss about with different universities. And by far, you're the first one to talk about the Rotary clubs, where, something of this as well allow you grants here in US as well, and you get paid for it. And, you can use it as a second level of scholarship for your particular semester. So that was really good for you to use it. And if we may know, like, what are the communities, if somebody from India right now is listening to, like, what was the community that you were part of, like the Rotary Club that you're part of, that bagged you this scholarship? If you can talk about it, we're good. If not, we can move forward as well.
Yeah, I mean, during our my bachelor's, we were like compulsory. We had to decide on which club we need to join. We had to be part of any club that we want to. So I was part of two such clubs. One was Lead and one was Rotract or Rotary. So both were doing the same kind of job, wherein they were helping the society, or let's say we have some festival coming up. Let's say now Diwali is coming up. So we would go to the people who are from the village, who are making all these diyas, going then purchasing things from them, trying to sell it in the society, then whatever money we get, giving it back to the sellers, like, who are making them. So those are the things that we were doing. And I feel like those when people see you're making an effort in the society, they would love to support you as well. So we were making some impact in the society, and that is when I approached them, this is what my plans are. I would be glad if I could get and help with this, and they were ready to help me with this.
That is so thoughtful. Like, I really like it. Like, obviously everyone does some or the other community work. We're also doing it as of now. Like you yourself, Shivani, you're doing it right now by, sharing your experience and giving it out. And this could be helpful for a lot of people sitting, listening right now who are doing community work, and they could check it. So I would really say, check it through your international institutions as well, that if something of this sort is legit and you can apply for it and you can have some extra hands to bring down the tuition fee down for that particular semester, that would really help. So thank you so much, Shivani, for sharing this. And this would be helpful for a lot of people, because I know a lot of people do community work, be it in any country, be it on any level, everyone does that. But the other thing that I wanted to touch base upon was the TA and RA thing that you talked about. Um, so you mentioned about that website that Stevens has, that you can go and check on the open profiles under different professors or department. So is it like different pay for different other departments, or it's just like at a constant per hour price for each of the departments you work? So I've heard in different colleges, like couple of departments pay you good, couple of departments maybe don't. So is it the same for you as well?
Yeah, I mean, different departments have different budgets. So yeah, that is for sure. Like different, yeah. And I was working for 20 hours. So, and
Same, yeah. Mhm.
yeah, there are few in my university. Let's say in this case, I had made a plan, and I was speaking to my seniors out there. And that is when I realized, don't apply for graduate TAs, apply for the undergrad TAs, because you get longer hours. Uh, for graduate TAs, especially in my university, what was happening is they used to select 2 TAs or 3 TAs, and the 20 hours used to be divided between those 2 or 3 TAs. But in my case, after speaking to seniors, I realized, oh, this is not this won't work out if I'm getting only 5 or 6 hours. So I started applying for undergrad TAs, and then for undergrad TA, because there are a lot of students, undergrad students, and they don't have 1 or 2 TAs. In the course that I was doing a TA on, that had 8 TAs, and all 8 TAs had 20 hours each. Undergrads comes with a lot of doubts, and that is the reason I'm like, yeah, if you're applying for TAs, I would suggest you also apply for undergrad roles. People think that most students think that we can't apply for undergrad TAs, but it's not the case. Same professor is going to teach for undergrad, same professor is going to come and teach for you as well for masters. So why not ask the professor, and if you have the skills, if you can give an interview with them, you're good to go.
Yeah. And to be honest, that's a fair point, because with undergrad, the class strength is usually in 3 digits, like over 100 people in one class. So it's actually required for the professor, especially, to have multiple TAs. And obviously, if that same professor is working on certain research as well, they would require RAs as well. So they would have assignment specific TAs and gradings and exam prep ones as well. So I've heard that as well. Nonetheless, in my university, we were not allowed to go for undergrad. We could only go for the graduate level TA and RA positions only. But yeah, that is one thing that I've seen, like, 150, 200 kids in one class, and then you have tons and tons of things. And obviously, you're there for longer because the course is there for longer. Like, undergrad people do it for 4 years. If you're there for 18 months or 2 years, you're sorted.
Yep.
Unlike masters people who can be done with 12 months and bye bye. And then you have to search for another professor or anything else of that sort. So that's perfect. And I guess 20 hours is good. But yeah, I was just only allowed 20 hours. So I would be envious to people working as TAs for the undergrad peeps. Yeah, it's more money, more time maybe. Yeah, it's there. But yeah, it depends on how it's allowed.
Yeah, and fun part was, I was working in security, and I was teaching how to use tools, clearing their doubts. Thereby, my knowledge base also was increasing because undergrad used to come with like new kind of stuff. So I'll be like, okay, this is something that's new. I need to research on this. So it was all fun.
I can understand that. But if you talk about your course duration, so is it like an 18-month course, or you can complete it early as well?
So it is an 18 months course.
Mhm.
You could complete it in 1 year as well, but it is like Stevens doesn't allow you to do it. They advise you to do it in 18 months or go for 24.
Okay. And does it have like a set, period to start? Like, does it only start in fall, or it does start in different other time as well, like spring or summer?
So it starts in fall as well as spring.
Okay, so you have two intakes together,
Yes.
like twice. Okay, so you were part of the fall
Fall intake, yeah, fall 2021.
Oh, nice. Okay, so nice. So you came and saw the winters, like the
Yeah.
fall and then followed by the winters. And how was it for you?
Winters were surprisingly to my, it was not that cold. I was expecting it'll be like
Really?
too cold. When I'd come here, it was not that cold. And I started hearing from our seniors that, this is like first time that New Jersey is not cold or New York is not cold. Only I felt was during Christmas, it started getting cold, but before that, it was not cold. And for that particular year, we only saw snow once in that whole year. And that rarely happens in New York. So in last 3 years as well, I think I hardly seen snow like 5 to 6 times. That's it.
I saw snow in Dallas last year, so
Oh, it snowed in Dallas last year, but it did
look
not
at
snow
the
here.
magic. I never saw snow like I came to United States in 2022, fall of 2022, and I visited NJNY in 2022, expecting I would see a white Christmas. But yeah, it wasn't. No, no snow,
I know.
nothing. I could just see a Christmas tree, no white Christmas tree.
Yes. Yeah, that is how it was. I don't know. I had heard after like 100 years or something, 75 years, something like that had happened. So I'm like, okay, we are a part of that.
Nice. So moving forward, like how was your visa experience considering it was just the year after COVID, 2021? So how are things for you? And if you wanted to share anything about or related to your experience.
It was pretty bad. Honestly, it was like pretty bad. You have offers, you have everything, and then you just have to wait on when you'll get the visa slot. I mean, I tried getting a slot in Mumbai. I was not able to get anything there. Tried getting it in Chennai. Was not able to get it there. So I had to wait until August to get my slot. So finally, I got the slot, but it was not people scare you. I feel it wasn't that scary for in my case at least. I was like, I'm not going to look at what people look at the experience people had, look at one or two experiences. Like, now I'm not going to look at it and get nervous. And then my experience was really good. The person asked, like, they in at the consulate, they just asked me which college and who's sponsoring. That's were the only two questions that were asked to me. And then I was like, okay, this should be, I got my interview done. And I think I got more confidence looking at the person who was in front of me. He was actually shaking there. It was like, he was shaking like anything. He was not able to put his fingers on the scanner as well. He was like holding his another hand, trying to place his hand on that and trying to do all of that. And then I was like, this person did it easily. I mean, I can, I'm not nervous now. I can do it. So I feel like that is something, boosted my confidence there. So I had a pretty good experience with the visa thing. But yeah, during that phase of that waiting for 3 months just to have that visa slot, having that uncertainty. I mean, I had quit my job and then, I was just waiting when will I get a visa slot. And then, I was not sure if I'll get the visa or no. So that was another thing. And I was like 20 days, in 20 days, I had to fly. So it was pretty bad. And then I had not even booked my air tickets. You can imagine the air tickets if you're booking in August. right?
Yeah.
So I had my interview on 2nd August and I flew to United States on 22nd.
I would still say I won there. That for me also, getting the slots was difficult. The interview was just 10 seconds. The same questions that were asked to you, I was quick to answer there. And I was done. I just ran away. And I was like, nobody can stop me now. They have taken my passport. Now it will be stamped and be back to me. The funniest part was I had that interview on 5th August and I had to fly on 12th August. Sorry, 15th August. So my tickets were done, everything was done, and I left my job, I paid everything, I was all ready. So, I was at that space that I have to crack it. Like, there's no going back from here, and I have to go there because the appointments were so tricky to get that one has to prepare things further. And I understand, like, August is like so bad with flights, so bad with getting a house wherever you go, because that's like the fall intake period where everything is like so expensive. So, a lot went there. And I guess, was it for you as well that once you landed there, you were feeling more relaxed that, done with it? I came here, I
Yeah.
have to see forward to it.
Yeah. It was like, finally, after all the wait, I had to wait for 1.5 years, you know. So because I had to wait for the COVID to end
Yeah.
as well, right? So my 2020 plans got shifted to 2021. So things were like that. But it was, it taught us a lot of things.
Yeah,
So
it does. It does. Like, it looks like it was really struggling, or it looks like maybe it's a cakewalk, you did it. But there goes a lot of things in the background as well, when we talk about these experience. And that's why I want to talk about these experience, because it's different for everyone. Because I had people here talking about, for them, getting the visa slot was this quick, clearing it was this quick. They were with their air tickets like 4 months, you
I
know,
know.
all before it. They were just waiting with their bags that now they have to just fly. They were chilling and they came here and they chilled as well. And there are people like us who at the last moments are just running at their gates somehow, not at all finding things and stuck somewhere.
I
So
know.
I agree to that point. But cut to the chase, like we've talked about why that college, why that particular course. And then we talked about the scholarship, we talked about the visa process. So we did talk about a lot of the before uh, things. Now I wanted to talk more about the after things, after you landed uh, to the land of opportunities. How were the couple of weeks, like initial couple of weeks for you, in terms of, adjusting, obviously a big culture shock, but how were you dealing up with things? Were there any sort of preparations that you made beforehand, or there were any sort of learnings or anything you came up with that you were following? So how were things for you when you landed?
In my case, it was like I felt like I was not in US. So I was like, it just felt like normal to that extent because I was like, I could not believe that I was in US. I'm doing something, and the only thing is, so for me, I have been away from home for like 6 years before I flew to United States. So like I did my bachelor's, which was away from home. Then I worked in Bangalore for 2 years, again away from home. So I was like, I knew how to be like, independent and staying alone and stuff. So after coming here, I had one of the like crazy experiences. I came here, I landed here, I opened my door and I see a roommate of mine sitting in the sofa and he's like, "Are you missing your family?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he started crying. And that is when I realized, that is when I realized, sometimes, if you're not out of your comfort zone, you get too much attached. And then it's like, okay, yeah, that is what happens. And now, yeah, in my case it did not happen. I had a smooth transition there, and then I feel like um, cultural shocks would be, vehicles stopping for you in India. Yeah, that were those were the things, and people talking to you so nicely. So those were a few things that felt like, okay, these are the things that are different. So yeah, other than that, I had like pretty smooth journey so far when it comes to, I know there will be a point where you have to cook and everything. In my case, things were not that difficult, because since I was away from home, and cooking is something that I always love to do. So it was like a smooth transition on that.
It was a task for me. That thing. Yes, it
It's
was.
cooking.
Now it is not. Now it's more of, what everyone says, what we see on Instagram and other platforms. It's very therapeutic. Oh my God, why was I not doing it initially? But, you get the hang of it. If you're not, blowing up the pressure cookers, if you're not, eating at times burnt chapatis or anything of that, I've done all that, but thankfully, my roommate was really a great cook. So I got food, like really good Indian food. So that was something there. But ultimately, you need to learn that now that I've moved from that student place to a different place where I stay alone. So, it's that to a level that if you want to get like a glass of water, you have to get up, go get that glass of water, drink. That's how you get it here, like that to that level at least. So it teaches you a lot of things, and these are the life lessons we've all gotten together about, a lot of different things for which we have struggled, like bigger ones, smaller ones, be it walking and not taking a cab, or other things. So how were like the basic work that you have done once you landed here, like opening an account or submitting the transcripts to the college? How did it feel like, just getting the hang of the new country?
Yeah. So in at Stevens, like submitting the transcript was easier. So my undergrad university also had a platform where we could just directly send our scores to the university. We don't have to depend on, like take a sealed envelope, go to the university, submit it. Luckily, we did not have to do that. We just had to use our college platform and just send it to the college, and we just had to confirm if they received it. So that was like pretty easy in that aspect. And that felt like, okay, one of those things are like sorted out. And opening the bank account, it took some time, because you are in New Jersey or let's say New York, a lot of students come in. Getting an appointment was another hell of a task. I had to wait for, I think, 1.5 or 2 weeks just to open an account. And then I was like, I'm not getting it in New Jersey. I went to New York to get an account open. So yeah, that is how
I
I got
know,
it
like,
open.
couple of people, whoever were coming late or anything of that sort. I heard like people telling them like, take a bank appointment when you're back in your home country itself. Take it from there. If you find it, somehow you go there. So the nearest ones were always filled up, but luckily I got the one in the nearest one that was like a walking distance from my residence. And that was something great, because at times of issues, at least you can walk up and get all those details, as compared to people who have taken it through a farther one. And you're just stuck there because you're new, you're still exploring the city, how things work and stuff like that. So that's there. But how was the first grocery run?
Uh, it was fine. Then we started comparing, which
Yeah.
the comparison game started, where, oh, we should not be spending so much. We should not be spending so much. So it went on for a month. Then I'm like, no, this is not gonna, this is just gonna make
Now
it
it
bad.
stays. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to stop comparing it.
You
You're in a
know,
different.
I just think of the time, I don't know if you also think it. There was one day where you were just skimming through the aisles, checking, which one to take, and, stuff like that. Then there comes a time when you're pretty clear, like, I want this blue one, this packet of bread, this butter, this. tuck, 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 and you're all done out. You're so clear with the self checkout and everything, and you're all good. But that transition from not knowing anything, being overwhelmed to see everything, and then all grabbing together. So that's how was that experience with you?
I mean, I would say, yeah, I had the similar kind of an experience that you had, but I found it. I I for me it was like, since I was living with roommates, they were like, split wise came into place. Like everything was like divided. Okay, I'm not spending a lot. I'm not spending a lot. So that is how things happened. And initially, it took some time to adjust, and but then there would also be situations wherein I know what I want to buy, but then after looking at things around, you were like, oh, I can take this as well. I can take this as well. So that adds to your cost. And when you talk to your parents,
Understandable. With girls, it happens a lot. You tend to shop extra.
yeah.
So
So
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, so yeah, that was that was an experience where I would always spend $10 to $20 more than what was intended to spend.
So, so that's always there. But if you may also talk about bits of like housing situation, like what are like the common places that students normally choose those areas to stay around. And obviously, if you can shed some light on the transportation system in and around the housing towards the university, if there was any, and if any was provided by the university that you could take on. So yeah.
Yeah, so Stevens did have like shuttle services, which would take you around the university or pick you from locations nearby. My university was in Hoboken, so if you are in Hoboken, it would pick you from any of the location and drop you at the college or university. So that was like really good. And most people stay in areas like Jersey Heights or Jersey City, because Hoboken is on the riverfront, and it gets a little the rent keeps on increasing because it's waterfront. So most students would be living in Jersey City or Jersey Heights. And
Correct.
coming to
Yeah.
the rent, I would say if you're living in Hoboken and if you're living in Jersey Heights, you'll have like around $1,000 difference.
And it's basically like always like a two people occupancy, or it's like a four people, depending on
Yeah, depending on the kind of owner you have. So if you have an American owner, yeah, things are, they restrict you.
okay.
But I always preferred staying in a small circle rather than being, crowded all the time.
Yeah.
So that way you get to talk to people around, try to understand what they are trying to do. And all my roommates, they were not from cybersecurity. So I was able to get an experience of what they are learning, so that was all fun.
Nice. Okay. So, cut to chase, this was all really helpful to know about the places and everything. So, next, I wanted to talk about things that you started up from India, and then obviously you're continuing it here as well. So, talk about a little bit of community experience that you gained either through your institution, obviously, whatever clubs or anything that you were exposed of, or how many things like Stephen offers. And then obviously, we know there are a lot of things that you are involved through LinkedIn and other platforms as well. So if you can talk through these elements that, people trying to come up to Stevens, if they want to know more about how things they can, be part of, because these clubs, these cultural groups really helps you with a lot of things as a new and international students with the university.
Yeah. So so since I had some community experience back in India, so I was like, okay, all universities, the university that I want to be a part of, let me start reaching out to the graduate peer team, which would, help you with any of your doubts on, about the university, about what is going on, what do you have to do once you land here, everything. We have like certain like 20 to 30 graduate peer students who would, be there, mentor you. They will also come to pick you up at the airport. and make it an easy transition for your life. So that was something that helped me. Other than that, I feel there were communities wherein, like Indian communities, wherein I could ask about this particular university, get some input on, like, how the university is, and how the location is and stuff. So those universities, like those university groups on Facebook were certainly helpful for me, and getting to know more information. And yeah.
Okay, so anything that Stevens helped you to, be part of any sort of conferences like cyber conferences? Is there any sort of support in terms of in terms of financial side, or in any other ways that Stevens supports their students or the department? Maybe not the entire college, but just the department.
Yeah, they do have like, if you want to go to the conference, they do have like conference funds that you can apply for. Like if, let's say, you want to go to the Grace Hopper conference, so there is an application that has been sent out. You have to fill that application out, and um, first, it's all on first come first serve basis. So the earlier you apply, you get in. So there are grants, you can apply to them, but then you have to be very quick with them. Other than that, you also had like career advice sessions, which were like pretty good, and which would also prep you for interviews and stuff.
That's really nice to know, because I know how these conferences get filled up really fast, and with a lot of students together applying, it's really good that they have at least some platform where you can apply. It's just on you to be as quick as possible and
Yep.
plan things in a way for the next year, that if you want to attend certain conferences. So that's really good to know that. um Next, and I guess this is very close to our session as well, where we wanted to talk more about, obviously, we talked a lot about the masters, the journey, the city, and the transitioning. I know with that end goal of that you start working in a specific domain of cybersecurity, and be part of an employer here and start working on things, have that US perspective as well, because I know you have worked back in India as well. So how was the job experience? I know, considering the job market was really thin since, I guess, 2022, like fall of 2022, it started to deteriorate a lot, with now being really bad. And I see a lot of struggling people. But how was it for you? Couple of quick strategies that you could share, and then we'll talk more about like how does it aligns with your degree program, and how is it going.
Yeah. So I think it was in March 2022. Um, that is when I started realizing networking is the goal here. I knew it before, but I was someone who was not, I was afraid to go and talk. So that is something I feel like one thing that New York or New Jersey has given me is giving me that confidence that I can do it, and I can go up front and talk about it. So it was in March. I think I met my mentor. Her name is Martha. So she was a part of VCs back then, and I just had messaged her saying, I'm looking for some guidance, and she had put her email on her LinkedIn post. It was a random email to Martha, and luckily she responded to that email. And then we had our first call. I spoke about what my situation is, and then that is how I understood how much important is to have a mentor, and how that journey. And then um, also it is because through her network I got my first job as well. So I was working hard, and then she was, because she had a pretty good network out there, she spoke about me, and through her network I got my first job as well in US. So having that mentor to guide you, and if you're putting all the effort with that mentor will make sure that you are getting all the benefits, and you get what you want to do. So that is one thing. And see, during the same journey, I was also introduced to, in July 2022, I met Ruchira, and then I got introduced to BBWIC. I got introduced to Shruti Rupa first, and then from Shruti Rupa I got introduced to you, and then Asta. And those were the things that, went on building my confidence level up. I feel like these are the communities that are responsible to making me who I am today. They gave me the platform to be myself, to have that confidence, to come and talk. And that is when I realized, okay, I can do this. And I started going to the conferences more often.
Yes, and that's how we met in person for the very first time. So this is something that has become a thing for me back from India as well. That that small community growing together in a new country, and it's flourishing well. We are a tight knit together, and we're opening up to new people as well to help them in whatever ways we can. And obviously, you being part of it now, you are helping other folks as well with all your experience, all your detailings, and we really am proud of each one of us together, that we could actually help each other in times together. Obviously we don't meet every day, but in a new country we're all each other's support and each other's family. And that's how BBWIC Foundation keeps pressing on things like this, and we're all together into this, because at the end of the day, here networking plays a very, very, very important role, with you getting introduced to a lot of people. And I suppose, Shivani, you would have attended a lot of local meetups
Yeah.
in JNY as well, because I know a lot of different chapters of ISC Square and Isaka, all of them are situated there. And I know a lot of good people lead that. And I know a lot would have been connected through those circles as well.
Yeah, definitely, but the only factor in my case was, I did not have that confidence getting up, going to the events. My journey has been a little hard in that way. But then going from a diverse point of view, I always had to think twice on what would happen. So,
See your
but
confidence now, it's so perfect, like touch wood, like, these are the things we get to learn from here by connecting with a lot of people, and everyone's like super helpful with things to help you and push you through that doors. And that's how you see those changes in yourself.
yes, and I mean, that is when I realized, and that is one of the things that, I also started doing, and I'm still doing it right now, wherein, I know how mentors play a very important role. That's the reason I also started this whole session where, I speak to people or students who want to come in, for their masters, or they want to transition to cybersecurity. So that journey has been like really going great as well.
I understand, like nowadays coffee conversations, coffee chats, they have become really, important. And I would say they are really integral now, because it's not always that, oh, okay, me and Shivani are talking right now, but there's always like a barter here that, we're talking because of some reason. No, at times it's just, you can be just talking about some random shit, and that's how you grow your relationship from there. And that's how okay, Shivani was searching for a job, we talked about it, we did not talk about a job, but we talked about it, and later somehow some contact, some chains build up, and things work like that. So making and creating those contacts is important, because at times you just sit together and talk about like the other person's work life, how things work maybe in a bank or anything of that sort, which can let you learn a lot of things as well to upskill yourself. So I think so, coffee conversations, talking, networking, if you are still not prepped into this, I guess you should start investing time into it. And obviously day one would be difficult, day 10 would be also difficult, but I guess eventually you'll get the hang of it to talk. When you come to a new country, there are different things that you have to take care of, like there are certain communication skills that you have to build up, and those soft skills are really, really important to come up to a point that, can you please refer me, like before that, can you please refer me, there has to be some sort of conversation to be built up. And that's something that I have also learned here for the past 2 years. Like I wasn't polished in ways, but then you learn, you eventually grow and coexist into the environment. And that's what you did as well. And you came out great.
Yeah, I mean, the confidence just built up, and I would suggest any students, watching this right now, uh, never um, come with an, feeling that it'll be like India. Here, companies won't come looking for you. They won't come to the campus. You'll have campus hirings and stuff. Yeah, few universities do it, but not every university does it, and it's all you here. How much effort you put in, how much effort you put in the university, how much effort you put to upskill yourself. It's very important to get that job. If you're not doing that, it will be pretty hard here. And I would request everyone just not to come because your friend is joining that university. That is what people making mistakes on. Uh, Join the university because you want to be there, you want to upskill yourself, and take that as a lesson. And if you're working hard, you will eventually get to what you want to do.
It takes time, I would still say. Not everybody's life here is a struggle. At times people have a smooth experience with things as well, I would not say. But yeah, there is struggle with things over here, and you have to cater to it alone. So you have to be that person who can uh, route his or her life, his or herself. Like, there's nobody else who would do it for you.
Mhm.
But people like us can be the pushing elements there, that we can push you, we can guide you together with 10 of us have 10 experiences, we learn from it, and we let anybody know about it as well. So but yeah, it's just you.
Yep.
So that's something, you are your hero slash heroine, and you only will drive it together. So those are really good advices that you could give it out to anyone planning to come up for their masters, or for their postgraduate, or maybe for their undergrad itself. So that would be really good for them to be self-sufficient, independent, and start networking, because that's really important over here.
Yeah, it's very important. And one of the things, it's like during the application process, something that I missed, I feel, uh, I would suggest everyone, don't go for like, if you, uh, there are like English exams right now, which can be given instead of TOEFL or IELTS. You can just go for Duolingo. You'll save up a lot of money there. So that is something that I've been suggesting all my friends who have been coming to US now. Just go for whatever makes things and life easier for you. Just go with that, and don't spend money. Don't spend just like that just because someone is telling you. Do your own research on that.
And yeah, I would really want to say something here, that always keep the university's website as your source of truth, because I know there are changes, maybe not to the entire university, but maybe to that specific department that you're applying to. And it's very, very important for you to research everything, like in terms of like the college, the city, the weather, the costings, everything. Like everything, you have to look out for everything, because if you go there, you have to look up to a lot of things like living and everything else. So it's better to research a lot rather than be quick in your decision, not mindful, and then you land up to really awkward situations. So it's good to research everything, and connect, because there are certain, like, are there like Shivani, webinars for that Stevens Institute,
Yeah.
like organizing for international students, that you
Yes.
know to type.
Yeah. They do have like webinars, in-person webinars as well in Bangalore, Mumbai. I had attended a virtual webinar wherein they had given us application waivers as well. So we did not pay for the applications as well. So attending webinars or just emailing your university would also give you some waivers. So please do email the universities, and if your profile is really good, they would they would be happy to give you an coupon code that would nullify your application cost.
I agree. Like, I also attended a webinar of my university, and that was really helpful. So there are tons and tons of resources. It's just you have to go on to the website, check everything, connect with the advisors for your specific course. And you could get tons and tons of knowledge that you can list and then decide for yourself, okay, this fits best with my experience, with my skill set, and with what I want to do in life. So that is all like great information that you shared, Shivani. And I could know a lot of things about you as well that I wasn't aware of about your college life. So thank you so much again for taking out time, sharing that information, because it is really helpful to anyone planning. And I would really hope good luck for your current, job, the city and everything else together. Stay safe, and hopefully we catch up soon in person again. And hopefully you get snow this year.
Yes, hopefully. And thank you so much, Saman, for having me. And it was really good to, share my experience. So thank you so much for giving this platform.
Thank you so much again, and bye everyone.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Off the Record, a student abroad podcast with Saman Fatima, part of the ITSP Magazine podcast network. If you learned something new and this conversation made you think, then add this show to your favorite podcast player, subscribe to the ITSP Magazine YouTube channel, and share the ITSP Magazine podcast network with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to connect your brand to our conversations and our audience, visit itspmagazine.com to learn how to sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey.